Alright guys, welcome to round 6 of the Reddit Championship Series. In this round, we are featuring two undefeated players. We have Femboy Yu-Gi-Oh! Piloting Madolches, and we have Sora, who we've previously seen featured in a future match in another round on Dragonmaids. So, if you guys are interested in voting for a future match, I actually have a poll up for the options for round 7. So yeah, if you wanted to maybe have a chance at picking the next future match, go check out that poll and go submit your vote. So it looks like Sora will be starting us off, and they do have a decent hand, but I am seeing a dimension shifter in the hand of Femboy. So Sora is going to start off with the normal summon of Parlor, which will immediately be met with the D shifter from Femboy. It looks like they are going to be forced to banish something here from their deck. We'll see what that is, but yeah, none of the Dragonmaid stuff is really going to be benefiting from banishing anything from deck, so it is quite unfortunate for Sora here, and I don't really know if they have any follow-up. I assume that, they will be able to summon the Nocto Vision Dragon if they go into Striker Dragon just for a desperation play here. We'll see if they do choose to go that route. So they are setting cards, so maybe not. Okay, it appears they are going into the Striker Dragon, going into the Nocto Vision here since a Dark Dragon was special summoned. They will be linking those off into a Spheres, so they do have some sort of form of interruption now for the following turn. And yeah, unfortunately they won't be able to draw off Nocto Vision here since it does have to get sent to the graveyard as link material. So this is quite unfortunate for Sora. Looking at Femboy's hand, they're going to activate Harpy's Feather Duster here, getting rid of the Hospitality. It's not a big hit or anything here. To be honest, it's unfortunate for them. Well, actually, they do have Prosperity. So we'll see what they hit off the Prosperity. Their hand might actually just be okay here. They are going to banish seemingly 6 cards here. And let's see what they banish. Let's see if it's anything interesting. We have a Sistar, a Link Karibo, a Glass Souffle, Tiramisu, Chocolate a la Mode, and interestingly enough, we see a Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger. That's a pretty cool card in the extra deck. So off the Prosperity, we're going to hit quite a few cards. We hit an Extravagance, and we hit a Strike, a Book of Moon, a Prosperity, a Petting Cessor, and a Hoot Cake. So I assume the Extravagance will not be added here since they won't be able to use it this turn, and they already went through quite a few cards in their extra deck. And same reason, Prosperity probably won't be added here as well. I assume it will be one of the Madolche cards, and it is the Petting Cessor. So damage, if any, for this turn will be half thanks to Prosperity, but I'm not sure if they will be able to go into the battle phase here. So the Mageline will be summoned, allowing Femboy to add a Madolche from their deck to their hand. They're going to choose the Angeli, and it looks like they're getting that for a follow-up. So I assume they think they can't really get anything done here. In the battle phase, these Spheres will activate, tributing for cost, bouncing the Mageline here. And I think they... Oh, no, they can't even negate because Herald of Orange Light has to go to the graveyard for cost. And thanks to Shifter, that just is not possible. So these Spheres will get tributed here, specialing out the Chamber Dragonmaid, which will allow Sora to add a card from their deck to their hand, adding the Changeover. And it seems like Sora will be able to play on their turn. So we are at the start of battle phase, so Maid will be able to balance itself, summoning out the Lorpar, which doesn't do anything, but it is a body on board. Also, now that we think about it, it is a way to get the Chamber back to hand, and now they will be able to summon the Chamber on their own turn. So Femboy's turn is just going to end with a set of Solemn Strike, and undoubtedly, I think it will probably be used here on the normal summon of the Chamber, just because Femboy didn't really see anything out of Sora's first turn, so that probably is the best target to hit here. So the Chamber will be normal summon here, and will the Strike be used? It will. Yeah, undoubtedly that's probably the correct play here from what we've seen. There is also another interruption here in Femboy's hand with Herald of Orange Light. So we will see the Hospitality activated, and it's fair to assume that Femboy didn't think they had the second copy of it in hand, since they did get rid of the first one with the Changeover, or sorry, with the Harpy's Feather Duster. So Nocto Vision will also be live here since the Chamber was special summoned. And now I think we'll actually be able to see the Noctovision Vision draw a card for Sora, which will be really nice for them. They're going to link off the Lorpar and the Noctovision Vision, going into another copy of Hieratic Seal. They'll draw off the Noctovision Vision here, getting a Black Metal Dragon, which is not a bad draw at all. They're going to go into the battle phase here, activating Chamber's effect, which will be met with the Herald of Orange Light, pitching itself and the Petting Cessor from hand. So yeah, Petting Cessor needs no monsters in the graveyard to special summon, so it was kind of dead in this scenario, since we did see the activation of Shifter on on Sora's first turn. And that's just going to be the end of Sora's turn. Femboy is going to draw into the Promenade, and that is pretty good, but unfortunately, I don't think they have much of a play here, because anything would just get bounced by the seal here. So the Promenade will be set. Do they just get a card of Magiclane here? No, they decide to just set the Magiclane and face down defense just so the seal has nothing to bounce. Which I guess is pretty smart, because if the seal does bounce, they could probably get access to another Dragonmaid and just get more advantage and then draw for their turn as well. So Sora will draw into a 1-for-1. Their hand is looking pretty decent here. They're going to normal summon the Black Metal Dragon, which I assume will be linked off so we can add the RDMD here. It looks like that's exactly what they're going for. Going into the Pisty, the Black Metal will activate. It doesn't look like Femboy has any interruption here whatsoever. They're going to banish the Pisty here to special summon the Red Eyes Darkness Metal. Now it's going to be interesting to see if Femboy decides to use the Promenade here on the RDMD. I feel like you kind of have to. Yeah, the Promenade will be targeting the RDMD here in order to negate it. I believe you have to shuffle back a card from your graveyard as well, if I'm not mistaken. If you do, return your monster to the hand. Oh no, they get to add one back to the hand, right? That's not bad at all. So it looks like the Petting Cessor will be added back to the hand here. Just going to go into the battle phase. The RDMD is going to swing over the Magiclane. And when Magiclane is destroyed in your in the player's possession, is destroyed by an opponent's card that's out to the graveyard, it's going to shuffle itself back into the deck. So Sora is just going to set another bait card here in the 1-for-1. You know, setting back row for bait is actually a pretty good strategy, just because it always instills that fear in your opponent. It's like, do I play into the back row? What is that back row? So Femboy is going to draw into the Salon for their turn. And I guess activating here first is probably the correct play, since if the Spheal, I keep saying Spheal, I don't know why. Maybe I'm thinking about the Spheal from Pokemon, but yeah, if the Seal does bounce anything here, you will be able to use the Salon effect, I believe, to set a Madolche spell trap from your deck. So the Angeli effect and normal summon are completely fine here. The Petting Cessor is going to get special summon, which will special summon the Pudding Cess as well. It looks like Sora has no response here. Femboy is allowed to go into the Glass Souffle. And I don't really know what you do from here, because I don't think you can really bounce the Glass Souffle at this point. We're going to go into the battle phase, forcing the Seal, which I guess the best target is the Salon at this point. The Glass Souffle will be chained in response. Very interesting. So I assume this is maybe to get rid of the Dragonmaid cards in the graveyard, just so when Sora does summon off the Seal, that they won't be able to bounce and special summon from the graveyard. Yeah, so the Lorpar and the Dragonmaid, or the Chamber, will both be returned here, as Sora special summons the Parlor off the Seal. Parlor is going to activate, sending another Lorpar, which I guess kind of just mitigates that entire interaction entirely. And so the Parlor will activate here, bouncing itself back to hand, bringing out the Lorpar. Femboy will not be able to run over anything here. Going into main phase 2, activating Salon again. We're going to go into the Chocolate Aloe mode. Petting Cessor and... No, just Petting Cessor will be shuffled back into the deck here. Salon will be activated. We're going to bring out the Hoot Cake. setting the Promenade. The Hoot Kick will activate, getting rid of the, I assume, the D-Shifter in the graveyard. Yeah, because that is kind of a nuisance just sitting there. We're going to bring out the Messenger Lotto, which will activate and add us another Madolche spell trap. It will be the Ticket here. And I think once Madolche start rolling, it's really, really difficult to stop this deck. Because the amount of, like, even if they're locked into Madolches, the amount of advantage that they get and just the sheer threat of an OTK is just unbelievable. And the fact that they can just recur all their resources that they use from the graveyard is absolutely insane. So the Tiramisu is going to come out here. It's going to detach and target up to 2 cards to shuffle into the deck, and then they're going to be able to shuffle cards that Sora controls up to the same amount, I believe. Yeah. So the Ticket will also activate. The Chocolate Owl mode will also be activated because it's not once per turn. So Sora's Field will just be shuffled back into the deck. We see the Angeli summoned from the deck alongside the Messenger Lotto, who also just happens to not be once per turn. Femboy adding the Chateau to hand. And I don't really see what Sora does here, regardless of what they may possibly top deck. We have seen some insane top decks in the RCS so far, but yeah, this is looking pretty difficult to deal with, I'm not gonna lie. So we're gonna see Femboy go into the fresh Sistart here. I believe this should be the end of their turn, yeah. So Sora is going to draw into a World Legacy Guard Dragon, which is a pretty good draw, but I don't know if it's really enough here to do much of anything. So the World Legacy Guard Dragon is going to be the card of choice to start it off. It's going to be met with the Promenade here. We'll shuffle back, or sorry, well, thanks to the Field Spell, they're going to be able to add back the Hoot Kick to hand here. The Salon will activate, the Ticket will activate, and this is what I mean. Once this deck gets rolling, it's going to be really, really difficult to stop it. We're going to see the Petting Sessor come out. We're going to see the Pudding Cess be brought out by the Petting Sessor. And, I'm a little confused. Did they forget to use Salon here? Because nothing was set. Or was there an interaction that I'm missing? It's kind of hard to tell because they're not typing in the chat. So I don't really know what's going on. So it looks like the Parlor will be the normal summon here. Lorepar will be sent to the graveyard. We're going to go into the battle phase here. Going into the battle phase. Parlor effect will activate, bouncing itself, bringing out the Lorepar. We're going to beat over the Petting Sessor, dealing just 800 damage just because the field spell does give all the Madolches a 500 attack boost. And defense. Wow, it boosts the attack and defense of Madolche monsters. So yeah, that's going to be added back to hand thanks to the field spell. The Lorepar is going to be activated in the end phase, bringing back the Parlor. Now we're going to be activating 1-for-1, pitching Lorepar. And we're getting a copy of Black Metal Dragon. The Glass Souffle will be chained here. Yeah, so that's just going to be able to shuffle cards from the graveyard into the decks, right? Oh, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, they're getting back the Herald of Orange Light here, which is going to be insane because now they have an interruption just for when Sora wants to search for the Red Eyes Darkness Metal. Yeah, that is very, very powerful here. Yeah, and that's going to be a concession from Sora because there's just absolutely no way they can deal with one more negate here. And undoubtedly, they probably knew they were going to get OTK the next turn. Alright, so we are going on to game number 2. It looks like Sora has decided to go first. And, we see the D-Shifter yet again in Femboy's hand. And it looks really similar to game 1, actually. We see the Herald, the Shifter, we see the Mageline, and the Prosperity. Similar, well, I guess slightly better hand for Sora this time around. We're going to see the Earnest, which can be discarded. And then, one level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster can be special summoned from the hand. Do we change Shifter here? It looks like we don't. So the Dragonmaid will activate here. We'll see if Femboy has a response. It doesn't look like they do. So the Hiding will be added here in the standby phase. We're going to be met with a normal summon for Black Metal, which will be met with the D-Shifter. Yeah, so this will not be able to add the RDMD now because it won't be sent to the graveyard. we'll see if, well, yeah, okay, it looks like Sora is deciding to play on, going into the Striker Dragon, and I assume we'll see them going into the Seal here as well. Don't really see what other play they might have here. Yep. Seal is going to be the play of choice, and it looks like it's just going to be Seal Tiding Pass, which honestly isn't the worst, because you can Seal Bounce, and then you can utilize the Tiding Bounce as well. So Femboy will draw into the Prosperity for their turn. Unfortunately, seeing 2 copies of this card really isn't all that great, but hopefully they hit something nice off Prosperity. If they are banishing 6 again, they should most definitely hit something. Banishing the same 6 as the previous turn, or the previous game, I should say. They're hitting a Promenade, Palimpsest, Extravagance, Cyclone, Herald, and a Puddingcist. So I assume... Actually, I don't know what they add here. They previously added the Palimpsest, but it won't be able to be special summoned again thanks to Shifter. So the add would be Cosmic Cyclone here, fearing the back row. And rightfully so. I know in game 1 that the back row was bluffs for the most part, but Tiding is definitely a real threat, and getting it banished ensures that you don't have to worry about the graveyard effect. So this is most definitely the correct add here. They're going to just flat out Cosmic the back row immediately, and it works out really well for them this time. And that's just going to be the end of the turn. So I guess they just didn't want the Seal to bounce anything here, because it would have gave Sora quite the amount of advantage there. Sora drawing the Droplet for turn, normal summoning the Parlor, which I assume won't be met with the response here, or maybe it might be met with the Herald. Okay, it will be met with the Herald, pitching the Angeli alongside it. So the Parlor is going to be destroyed here, but it doesn't matter because once again in game 2 we have Hospitality in hand, so the Parlor will be brought back here. Do we just go into the battle phase straight up here? That might be the play. Oh yeah, so okay, I forgot Hospitality may also send a monster with the same attributes, so we will be sending the Lorpar here, going into the battle phase, bouncing the Parlor, special summoning the Lorpar, and we're just gonna swing for some damage here. 2700. This is a big dragon right here. Gonna go into the main 2, set a copy of Droplet, and that will be the end of turn. So honestly, this is looking pretty strong for Sora. We have the Seal Bounce, we have the Droplet, which we'll be able to send the Lorpar, which honestly doesn't even matter if we send it, because it's just going to get brought back with Parlor in the next battle phase. So Femboy forced to be using the Prosperity here, and it looks like they're choosing to banish the entirety of their extra deck. Surprisingly, wow. So we're going to be banishing a Phantasme, Messengelato, D-Shifter, Prosperity, Mageline, and a Harpy's Feather Duster. And yeah, this unfortunately doesn't look like a very good hit. I don't know what you add here, because anything is just getting bounced by the Seal, and it doesn't look like we have any follow-up. Oh, actually, Seal has to tribute, and we do have Call By in hand. So we'll see what the add here is. It's going to be very hard, because Droplet most likely will just negate whatever we summon. Because if Sora is aware that Femboy has very few cards or none in hand, it's going to be a pretty... Yeah, so the Phantasme is the add here. So once the Seal is chained, we're most likely going to see the Droplet in response to the Mageline, and that'll pretty much just end the turn of Femboy. So yeah, the Mageline will be the normal summon. I presume we'll see the Erratic Seal chained here. Maybe not. Oh, wow. No response. That is interesting. And Femboy just going to opt to go into the end phase here. Wow, so they held the Call By the Grave, predicting that Sora would use the Seal in the end phase here. And that is a very good call. Gonna banish the Seal, making sure it's negated on their turn as well as on Sora's turn, but that actually won't be too relevant, just because Seal can only bounce on your opponent's turn. So we're going to see the normal summon of Parlor here. It's going to send a copy of Changeover to the graveyard. They're going to be able to add the Changeover to hand, but it doesn't look like that's going to be relevant here. They're just going to go straight into the battle phase, swing for some damage. The Mageline will be shuffled back into the deck here. Changeover will be added back to hand. We're going to be sending the Parlor. Oh my god, I clicked fast forward by accident. But yeah, we saw the Lore Part and the Parlor get sent to the graveyard to bring out the Shiyu. In the standby phase, the Shiyu will bring back the Parlor, which will send a copy of Tidying to the graveyard. And for Femboy's turn, they top the Herald of Orange Light. And I see, Phantasme was just such a weird add to hand here, because if your opponent knows you're sitting on Phantasme in hand, they're most likely not going to want to go into a link play, especially when Phantasme is just such a good counter to seal in the first place. So yeah, not too sure what happens here, because the Herald will be kind of dead as soon as the Angeli is summoned here. And it doesn't seem like, you know, Femboy has much of a play otherwise. So yeah, the Angeli will be summoned here. Droplet will be activated, sending the Parlor. And that's just going to be the end of the game for Femboy. They're going to admit defeat here. Yeah, there just really wasn't much they could do at that point. Unfortunately, the Prosperities didn't really seem to hit anything that was too helpful. Alright, so we're going on to game number 3. Man, it's crazy to think but both of these decks are undefeated at this point. It's really nice to see Madolches and Dragonmaids having some success in this tournament. So for the opening hands, we do see a Nibiru, which is pretty good against Femboy's deck, 100%. And we don't see the Herald of Orange Light. So this might be kind of rough. We're going to see Femboy start us off with a Salon being activated, just to get that additional normal summon. We're finally going to see Petting Cesar be able to special summon itself, because for once, there is no D-Shifter in the graveyard. So Petting Cesar will come out. We're going to see the Angeli come out as well. We're going to see the Angeli activate its effect in order to bring out the Hoot Cake. Hoot Cake will activate here, banishing the Angeli. Going to be able to special summon another Madolche monster, special summoning Messenger Lotto, which will fetch us a Madolche spell or trap from our deck. And the card of choice will be Ticket here. And yeah, it looks like we're seeing what we saw in game 1. If this deck gets the ball rolling, like, the advantage is just absolutely insane. We're going to see Prosperity, now that we fetch as much as we could from our deck, try to maybe hit a very key card that could, you know, maybe stop Nibiru at this point. Looks like we don't hit the Herald of Orange Light. We see a Book of Moon, we see a D-Shifter, we see a Pot of Extravagance, Solemn Strike, and we see a Petting Cesar alongside a Mageline. So what is Femboy going to add here? They're going to add the D-Shifter. Oh, well, that is still live, so that is very interesting. We don't have any monsters in our graveyard. That is interesting. Oh wait, no, it's if you have no cards in your graveyard. So with Prosperity in the graveyard, what was the point of adding D-Shifter here? I'm gonna see them go into the Last Souffle and the Ticket. Or, oh, they might actually be able to shuffle back the Prosperity. So I assume this might be the plate here, right? Damn, Femboy is an absolute genius on Madolche, are they not? Was that... It was 5 summons, actually. That is very unfortunate. So they will be able to use the Glass Souffle here, however, in order to detach and make sure that one of the monsters is unaffected. I wonder what the choice here is, though. It looks like they will decide to keep the Glass Souffle. The Nibiru will come out. They're going to shuffle back the Messenger Lotto and the Prosperity here. So I assume they have a way to either get Hoot Cake back to hand or back into their deck. We'll see the Salon and the Ticket activated here, which will add the Petting Cesar and set the Promenade. Right, so Promenade will actually be able to get rid of the Hoot Cake from the graveyard, and it looks like D-Shifter will still potentially be live here. So the Cosmic Cyclone is a very good top deck here. So I assume, do we change this in response? We might have to if we really want to get rid of this Hoot Cake from the graveyard, right? Because this is getting banished regardless. And getting the Hoot Cake, I believe it's back to hand. Return your monster to the hand. Yeah. This might have to be chained here. Even though it'd be quite unfortunate to just have to waste on Nibiru, it might be the correct play. So it looks like the Hoot Cake will be added back to hand here. The Promenade should still be banished. No? Am I missing something? Or was the target the, I guess I missed something. Okay, so I guess the target was the Cosmic. So the Pet Ancestor will be special summoned here, and the Promenade will be set thanks to Ticket and Salon. We're going to see the D-Shifter be activated here. I'm a little confused because I don't know why the Cosmic got shuffled back. I think I'm really missing something here, but... What? Okay, well, I thought Promenade just negates. Does it not? Wait, let me pause. Negate the effects of that opponent's card until the end of this turn, and if you do, return your monster to the hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard. I have to be completely missing something here. I don't know what happened. But okay, we're just going to resume game 3, and we're going to assume everything is absolutely okay and that nothing is wrong here. Okay, well, the Black Metal Dragon will be normal summoned here. We're going to go into the battle phase. Nibiru will swing over the Angeli, which will get banished here. The Tiding will be set. And it looks like, yeah, the only reason for the normal summon here was just so we can have a bounce of Tiding, I presume. Because D-Shifter is still alive at this point, and you don't want this getting banished. So the Prosperity off the top. We'll see if Femboy decides to activate the Prosperity here. I feel like they might not have to. They might potentially just have game here. The Magileine will be normal summon. We'll see an add of another Magileine to hand. All they have to do is play around a single copy of Tiding, which I think they should be more than capable of at this point. Yeah, I think with Glass to Flay up as well, I think the Tiding is kind of just rendered irrelevant at this point, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to see the Tiramisu come out here. We're going to go straight into the battle phase. We're going to swing over the Black Meadow, so I assume the Tiding will be chained here. Targeting... Ooh, it's going to be met with the Promenade, negating the Tiding. That is a very good play. So the Glass Souffle will be returned here. And the Black Metal Dragon will be banished, and unfortunately it doesn't go to the graveyard thanks to Shifter. So Sora will not be able to add a RDMD here. So no OTK, but Femboy is in a very, very powerful position here. Going into the Divine Arsenal Zeus. Zeus is absolutely insane. This card is cracked. I don't know what they were thinking when they were printing this card. I'm actually surprised to see it being played in Madolches. I did not expect that. We're going to see the Prosperity come out here. Now that the damage has been dealt, we don't care about the battle phase or any damage being halved. So Prosperity is going to banish 3 here. We're going to hit the Book of Moon, Shifter, and Salon. Book of Moon is a very, very good hit here and very, very relevant. The Book of Moon will be set, and with Zeus and Book on the field, Sora just having 2 cards in hand and an Nibiru on the field, it's not looking too good for them. They're going to draw into the Hospitality. They have no Dragon Monster, or no Dragonmaid in their graveyard. Does this have a effect? It does. You can discard this card and target 1 face-up monster on the field. Players cannot activate that target's effects on the field this turn. That is an effect that I completely missed. That's actually very, very good. But I don't know if it's going to be enough here. We're going to see the Hospitality activated here. Special summoning the Lorpar. And I assume we send the Parlor here as well. But what do you do here? The World Legacy Guard Dragon will be activated. Special summoning the Parlor. When I use Parlor's effect, we're going to send a copy of Change over to the graveyard. Will Book of Moon be enough here? We'll have to see. We're going to see these 2 linked off, going into a copy of Seal. Going into the battle phase here, Nibiru will swing over the token. We're going to go into the main phase 2, and that will be the end of their turn. So we are just sitting on a Seal here, which, isn't the most threatening thing here, with all things considered. We'll see the normal summon of Hoot Cake. Does the seal get chained here? It does not. So we're going to see the Hoot Cake banish the shifter from the graveyard. Special summoning a copy of Messengelato. Messengelato will add a copy of Chateau to hand. We're going to see the Petting Cessor now activated. Since there are no monsters in the graveyard, the Petting Cessor will be able to special summon the Pudding Cessor here. Or not the Pudding Cessor, just the Pudding Cess. And you have to wonder if bouncing the Hoot Cake would have been the correct play there. At this point, what do you really bounce? We're going to see the Tiramisu come out here. We're going to see the Angeli being normal summon. Oh, right. Oh, I completely forgot for a second that Salon does give you an additional normal summon. So it looks like the seal bounce wouldn't have really mattered at that point, huh? Yeah, that is quite unfortunate. We're going to see the Messengelato being brought out here from the Angeli, which will add a copy of Promenade to hand. And this deck has just completely snowballed out of control now. Femboy just has way too much advantage for Sora to deal with here. I don't see what they do. We're going to see the seal chained here, bouncing the Zeus. And there's just no way you chain Zeus at this point. It just doesn't matter. Yeah, we're going to see the entire field get bounced, and that should be game. The seal is going to bring out the nurse. Or maybe it's not. Maybe I spoke a little bit too soon. Does Sora have it in him to live one more, or in them to live one more turn? We're gonna find out. The nurse will bring back the parlor, I believe. Yeah, but Femboy is just going and going and going. The parlor will be able to send a tiding to the graveyard here. It looks like they may potentially buy themselves another turn, but you've got to wonder, is it enough? See, Femboy does still have the Book of Moon set as well, which I assume would prevent the start of the battle phase effects of the Dragonmaids here. Do they have another play? They're going to go into a Glass Souffle. And to activate that, these hiding will be chained here in order to avoid being bounced from the graveyard back to the deck. We're going to see the Xyz monsters return back into the extra deck, which is very smart considering we did lose a lot off the Prosperities activated here. Going to see Femboy go into the Chocolate Aloe mode. They're just extending here, getting the Messengelato. Messengelato will activate, adding a Salon to hand. It's just absolutely insane how many cards Femboy has access to right now. It's actually crazy. Gonna go into a copy of Tiramisu. And guys, I don't know if you've watched my video when the RCS first began on players to watch out for, but Femboy was one of them. And for a good reason. They did win MBT's Chalice Line Monthly previously on Madolche. I don't know if it was the exact same build, but they are very well versed with this deck. As we can see, they're just absolutely tearing it up here. We're going to see another copy of Messengelato come out here, and it just doesn't stop. And Sora is going to admit defeat. That is going to be the end of the match. Femboy Yu-Gi-Oh! Taking it with 2-1. Just an absolutely fantastic game and an absolutely fantastic showcase of what more non-meta strategies are capable of doing in this very diverse format. If you guys enjoyed this duel, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Bear signing off. Peace, guys.